everyone. I'm Ahmed Hasik from Sara Model School and I'm going to present my project Diet Detective. Are spices going to reduce inflammation? Before I start my presentation, I would like to show you some pictures. What you see here is people who are affected with chronic inflammation. Even my mother is a victim of it. All these people have one thing in common, that is an autoimmune disease. About 600 to 800 million people in this world are affected. So, what is an autoimmune disease? It is a condition when our own immunity system turns against our body and damages healthy tissues. Due to this disease, the affected individual faces with chronic inflammation in parts of their body. They often resort to using medication which often comes with a lot of side effects. This is where my project comes into play. I wanted to find a way in which we can reduce the chronic inflammation using everyday spices. With that as my aim, I started to proceed with my research. I chose 5 spices for this research. They are namely turmeric, black pepper, ginger, garlic, and cinnamon. And by doing this research, I wanted to find out if the spices have anti inflammatory properties, and if so, which among the 5 spices proved to have the highest anti inflammatory properties. But when I started researching, I noticed that there was a catch in the project. I realized I cannot test the effect of spices directly on patient as there are several factors involved. It is difficult to differentiate the effects of those spices on the patient's body. So I decided to use 2 biological models. The first one, egg denaturation assay. The second, yeast assay, to replicate the patient's chronic inflammation. The aim of my project is to know which among the common spices has properties that can reduce inflammation using biological models. The hypothesis of my project is, does turmeric root have higher anti-inflammatory properties than any other tested spices due to its presence of curcumin? Now let's go into the procedure. So in this project I have done 2 biological models. The first one is the egg albumin assay. Here I am going to simulate the protein damage which occurs during inflammation. Egg white when heated turns into white color due to the protein damage which is occurring. This is similar to what happens in the human body when it is experiencing inflammation. This is the reason I chose egg as my first biological model. To do this, we are going to take an extract out of all the spices separately and add them to an egg solution which I have already made. Now, this is the picture of it, and I have also taken 2 controls, which is one to show the maximum amount of protein damage that can occur, the other to show the minimum amount. Now, I'm going to place the minimum amount of the minimum control outside and take all the other test tubes and place them in a pot containing hot water. Now, I'll let it sit for 5 minutes. So we are doing this because as our egg white is getting heated, the protein damage occurs and it will turn into white color. But the spices in it are going to fight against it and reduce the damage, thus making it into a translucent color. So I have compared each of the spices after 5 minutes with both of the controls, and I have done this thrice with different amount of extract and marked all my readings here based on the cloudiness score. So and I have also made a graph here, and in this test, turmeric proved to have highest percentage of inhibition of denaturation. Now let us move on to our second biological model, which is the yeast assay. We are doing this to simulate oxidative stress a person might feel during inflammation. Yeast, when it comes into contact with hydrogen peroxide, suffers oxidative stress, which is similar to what happens in the human body. Uh, so we are going to take the same extract we did for the last test and then add an yeast starter that we have already made with a few drops of hydrogen peroxide and seal it with a balloon. So we are doing this because yeast has a tendency to produce CO2, but the hydrogen peroxide is going to suppress it from doing so. But our spices are going to clash against the hydrogen peroxide and let the yeast produce CO2. So, the larger circumference the balloon has, the more antioxidant properties the spice have. I have done this test twice with different amount of extract and marked the circumference of the balloon every 15 minutes for 1 hour. I have also made a graph here, and in this black pepper showed the most highest amount of antioxidant properties, closely followed by turmeric. So, in an overall interpretation, turmeric proved to be the most potent anti-inflammatory agent, and black pepper proved to be a strong antioxidant and moderate anti-inflammatory properties agent, and black pepper proved to be a strong antioxidant and moderate anti-inflammatory properties. And ginger and garlic showed like moderate effects in both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. Cinnamon proved to be the least effective in our tested spices. So, in conclusion, I would tell that the combined findings from egg albumin and the yeast assay showed that turmeric is the most potent anti-inflammatory agent. The presence of curcumin in turmeric helps its superior ability to protect proteins and cells from oxidativity and inflammatory damages. Thus, our hypothesis is proved. Turmeric proved to have higher anti-inflammatory properties than any other tested spices due to the presence of curcumin. After doing this project, I also suggested my mom to use these spices regularly in her everyday food, mainly turmeric along with medication. And in a few weeks, we were able to see better results. So I would advise everyone who has inflammation to use these spices, mainly turmeric, like you are drinking golden milk, uh, so that they could lessen their sufferings from inflammation. And in future, I would like to repeat this project using ethanol or mixed spices like using black pepper and turmeric to enhance their properties. Also quantify curcumin, gingerol, and pepperine by HPLC. So that's all for today. Thank you. Have a good day.